Have you ever had one of those moments? You get this incredible blessing, this amazing breakthrough, and the first person you want to tell, the person you expect to be popping the confetti right alongside you, they just pull away? It's such a confusing and frankly painful thing when a friendship starts to feel weird right when your life starts to get good. Well, today, we're going to get right into that feeling.
It always starts quietly, doesn't it? It's never this big, dramatic event. You share some good news, something you're excited about, and you can just feel the air in the room change. You can't quite name it, but you know something shifted.
And at first, you'll probably just brush it off. You'll ask yourself, am I just reading into this? Maybe they're just having an off day. But then it happens again. You see that smile, and it just doesn't quite make it to their eyes when you're talking about your wins.
Suddenly, the person who is your #1 cheerleader goes silent. Those "I'm so proud of you" texts, they just stop. It feels like every time you get lifted up, they take a step back. And honestly, being around them starts to feel draining instead of uplifting.
Okay, this is the moment that really matters. That little voice inside you, that gut feeling you just can't shake. Let me tell you, that is not paranoia. That is discernment. That's your spirit's built-in alarm system going off, telling you that a loyalty has expired, even if the friendship hasn't officially ended on paper.
All right, let's dive into this, because this feeling, this whole experience, it actually has a name. It's often called a spiritual snake. Now, I know that sounds really harsh, but stick with me. It's not just a random insult. It's meant to describe a very, very specific kind of dynamic.
And that right there is the absolute core of it. See, this isn't some obvious enemy you can see coming from a mile away. No, this is someone who blends right in. Could be a friend, a mentor, even a family member. They might have been your rock in a low season, but it's your success, your elevation, that acts like a giant spotlight, and suddenly their true feelings about you are exposed.
So, if they're so good at blending in, how in the world are you supposed to know for sure? Well, let's move into the investigation phase. We're going to look at some crystal clear signs that you can watch for. Just take a look at these for a second. Do any of them ring a bell? That inconsistency is a huge one, that hot and cold behavior that keeps you totally off kilter. Or what about jealousy hidden inside a compliment? The kind that sounds nice, but somehow makes you feel small. Or maybe they make you feel guilty for setting a boundary, and they dress it up as, "Oh, I'm just concerned about you." It's a whole pattern of behavior that's really designed to keep you from outgrowing them.
Now, these gives us a really practical framework for actually seeing the evidence. And I want you to notice something here. This isn't about overanalyzing every single word they say. No, this is about trusting your internal signals. How do you feel after you get off the phone with them? Drained? Confused? That's your data. Do they get defensive when you try to create just a little bit of healthy space for yourself? That's another major signal. This whole framework just helps you put words to what your gut already knows. We often think that if we're going to be betrayed, it's going to be loud and obvious. It'll come from someone we already have our guard up against. But the deeper, harder truth here is, well, it's a lot more painful than that.
And this slide, this really gets to the heart of why it hurts so much. The most dangerous threats to our peace, to our purpose, they almost always come from the inner circle. It's the people who are familiar, the ones who felt safe, the people who admired you, right up until the very moment they realized they couldn't control you anymore.
And this leads us to what is often the most difficult, most painful question to even ask. What if this person, the one showing all these signs, what if it's not just a friend? What if it's someone in your own family?
And the answer is a clear, absolute yes. A shared last name is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for toxic behavior. Proximity doesn't equal purity. Guarding your heart is a non-negotiable. And that applies even if the person draining your spirit is sitting right across from you at the Thanksgiving table.
Okay, so identifying the problem is half the battle, but what do you actually do about it? Well, that brings us to the solution. And this isn't about planning some big confrontation or getting revenge. This is all about getting clarity for yourself and protecting your own peace.
Real empowerment comes from taking these small, decisive actions. So let's walk through this. First, you have to start honoring your intuition. Stop second-guessing that inner voice. Second, write down the moments they made you feel small. This isn't about building a case against them. It's about seeing the pattern for yourself so you can't deny it anymore. 3 and 4 are about observation and action. Just pay attention to who gets real quiet when good things happen for you. Then, reclaim your power by setting one small boundary this week. And check out this last step. Pray for clarity, not for closure. This is so important. You might not ever get that tidy apology or that movie scene ending. What you really need is the wisdom to see the situation for what it is so you can move on in peace.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. What if this whole painful experience, this exposure of someone's true colors, what if it's not actually a punishment? What if it's a form of protection? As you move up to new levels in your life, not everyone is meant to go with you. Maybe that friendship going quiet is really a divine intervention, a way of guarding your destiny. So the question is, who is God protecting you from?